Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying Coordinator for the Bergenfield School District. We have 8 schools and over 4,000 students in our district. I started in September of 2007, and at the time, I was given the lovely responsibility of being the liaison between our schools and the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, which started with us in 1998. At the time when I started, there were about 20 to 30 bigs, and the bigs are our high school students, and the littles are students from our 5 elementary schools, and originally our students from 6th grade at our middle school. You know, like anything, it was quite a learning experience, and it really took me the year to kind of get the program off the ground. My predecessor was doing other things, and they wanted to make this like a really, big thing in the community. It's free, and our students need a lot of assistance. So basically, at that point, they had partnered with the Nets, and that was in 2008. So they started at Lincoln Elementary School, and so the Nets would go to Lincoln School, and my bigs would go to the rest of the schools. And basically what they do is, they teach them coping skills, they do homework assignments with them, they do a lot of activities, but of course the students that had the Nets, were really excited because it's the Nets. After a couple of years, they decided the Nets to go to our middle school because the kids were a little bit older, and they thought, let us make a difference there. So where the Nets were at Lincoln and the middle school, our bigs would not go there. They would go to, the other schools. So the best thing that happened is that I think within a 4 to 5 year time frame, we built a program from 30 bigs to 100 bigs. And if any of you work with teenagers, which maybe a lot of you do, they're so gung-ho in the beginning, and they get on board and they're like, yeah, miss, this is great, I'm gonna do it. And as the program, persists, they don't show up, they don't let the advisors know, it's twice a month. I mean, it's a commitment, So it was challenging, but it was really exciting because when we grew the program, the vice president recognized all the work that we were doing between our schools, the middle school and the elementary schools, and how hard the kids were working. So they awarded our school in 2014 Most Increased Community Outreach, which was really, a great honor. They had a dinner. I couldn't make it, but our Board of Education went, and they were really impressed and really excited. So, we've had peaks and lows with it, just like anything else. So it went from 30 to 100, then back to about 75, 80 of our high school students, partnering with Big Brothers and continuing the program. So it has worked out really well, and it's had its challenges, but overall our kids are dedicated, and the littles, they love it. And the most exciting thing, I don't know if the picture's up, but it is. So the twin boys up there, they were littles at Lincoln School, fantastic students, and they became bigs to this child here at our middle school. And they came, full circle. And a lot of our students do that. There's been a change for the first time this year. Our middle school students go out to the sheriff's department twice a month, and that's working out really well because they can look at these officers in a different realm. It's working out great. They love it. They're consistent. And the other change is our Lincoln Elementary School are going up to BMW in Mala. So BMW acts as the bigs, and the Sheriff's Department acts as the bigs. And I don't have a lot of information right now. I have to think about it maybe in our breakout groups, because I've recently stepped down from being the liaison, but I'm still like, in the shadows, just trying to oversee everything. So I have very positive feedback that it's going great. They're gonna probably open it up to more of the elementary schools because the kids are loving going to BMW. What else? Yeah, I think, that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot to share, but that's basically the overall thing, yeah.
Okay, so Mary, can you walk us through? Yeah.
Good morning, my name is Mary Swatec. I'm here on behalf of the Tenafly Educational Foundation. And the Tenafly Educational Foundation, known as TEF, has been around for decades. I was a graduate at Tenafly High in '81, and I think it started in '82 or '83, so I have been involved for about 8 years on their board. I'm their grants manager. What Tenafly Educational Foundation does is collecting money from the community, and I'll talk about how they do that, and using it to fund initiatives that are innovative in our schools, so K all the way through high school. We have 6 different schools in our district. The teachers will come to us when they have something that's novel, innovative, that they don't have money in their budget for. Okay, so we're that extra resource. And I'll give you a couple examples of some things that we've done in the past. But to date, we've funded over close to $1 million, which is really exciting in our history. And this is a little outdated with the $60,000 last year. That was for the big Chromebook initiative that we did a couple of years ago, which you may have heard about. Tenafly wanted to move to a one-to-one technology initiative, and so they came to TEF to help with the funding. Our main revenue sources, most people know TEF as, oh, you're the 5K organization. So, and they don't know what, it's very interesting. We've been around for decades. There's still a lot of branding problems. We're the 5K company. And they don't really know where that money goes. But we've been running a 5K now for about, I want to say this will be our 21st year. And Judy Aronson, who was the innovative creator, she was president of it. And they told her, well, when you're going to be president of this, you need to have a fundraising dinner. And she goes, I don't throw dinner parties. She goes, but I love to run. When you think about what I can do. She started this as a co-op with the Streets of Tenafly run. So she worked with the recreation department, took it over. It started with, 50 people running around Tenafly. We had, I think, 1,600 runners last year. Very exciting. So that's our biggest fundraiser. We net about $40,000 every year, which goes right into our coffers and right back into the schools. We do have a couple other programs. The Thank a Teacher program generates maybe $1,500 a year, but it's a way of getting a certificate to the teachers. Parents pay $5 or so and say thank you for taking care of my kid and being such a great teacher. The Harlem Wizards event, we started 4 years ago, but we're only running it every other year. We bring in the Harlem Wizards basketball team in the fall. Since our race is in June, we said, what can we do in the fall semester? And it's been fantastic. Everyone in the community is invited. So this is truly a community engagement. It's a fun afternoon where we bring in the players from Tenafly are the principals and the faculty, and we even have faculty who come as cheerleaders. All the kids come. We sold out. We actually didn't have enough seats the first year, and our entire gym in the high school was filled out. And again, I think that netted about $11,000. So it was a very successful initiative. We did it the second year, didn't quite fill out. So we said, you know what, there may be some fatigue. We'll do an every other year program. So keep an eye out. This November, I believe it's November 3rd of 2019, we'll have our next Harlem Wizards event. And it's open to everyone. It's not limited to Tenafly residents. And it's really a terrific afternoon for the kids, a lot of fun. Grants, private donations, so the TAB Foundation just gave us a $1,500 grant over 3 years, $500 per year. And we have some novel initiatives, so stay tuned. I'm sure the Suburbanite will report on us. A little bit about the 5K. It's not just a run. We have a dog walk. We have special programs for, we call them the Tiger Tots, so they run across the football field, whether you're 2, 3, 4, or 5 years old, there's different lengths that you run and different prizes. We have the challenge events as well for kids that are differently abled, and again, big fun day. We get some major corporate sponsorships, so again, we're really tying in the community and getting support for the school systems. Here's an example of some of our sponsors. This is just the example on your left-hand side, what the certificate form is for getting a thank a teacher certificate, and then an example of the flyer for the Wizards. So most importantly, what do we do? This is where I want to spend a little bit of time. I only have, I believe, 5 minutes to speak, and I probably used up 2 of those minutes so far. So I kind of rushed through the first part because I want to talk about this. This is really neat, and I am so excited to be a part of the board because we are truly tying in students and families and schools and communities. We're really hitting all 4 of those touch points with our various initiatives. So although you'd view us as the educational foundation, we're funding school activities. Let me give you an example of a couple of things. So a typical school technical activity was that big Chromebook initiative. And we had a nice write-up as we presented one of the checks to the Board of Ed. I think I have a slide on that that'll come next. That's a typical example. And we funded, I want to say it was $43,000 in total just to the Chromebook initiative in 1 year. So it was a very large donation. We funded things like hydroponic initiatives. We had a writing specialist in one of our elementary schools who, on the side in her own home, was doing some hydroponics in her basement. She started talking to some of the kids about it, who she was working with for this writing specialist support. They got very excited. She said, gee, well, we need to create a club. She came to TEF for funding. There was no funding in her budget, that's for sure, and certainly not for this kind of initiative. It became so popular that she took it around. She initially had to limit it to 5th graders only. She was able to expand it. Then she got a rolling mobile cart where she went around to each of the classrooms across the entire elementary school and let the kids be scientists. Hey, bring something in, let's see if it grows. Mrs. Adams, she said she had kids chasing her down the hall, let's say at lunch. Mrs. Adams, here's a pea from dinner last night, will this grow? She goes, I don't know, let's plant it and see what happens. She had all sorts, the kids were so excited and so engaged. So very novel initiative, coming from a place maybe unexpected. This is a writing specialist. It took off, and we said, this is terrific. We'll do the seed funding. We expect the school to pick it up, or the HSA, the Home School Association, to pick it up moving forward. It got into multiple elementary schools, and that was one of our requirements. We wanted her to share what she did and how she did it with the other elementaries so that they could implement it. Another initiative that is near and dear to my heart is something called Teen Leads. So you may have heard of the Bergen Leads program, which is a civic engagement leadership program. We have Janet Sharma here in the audience, and I actually see Liz Corsini, who was in my class in the back row, class of 2009. So this is a program, very innovative program that came from the volunteer centers of Bergen County. And it's, again, for adult, oh, Sam, I can't forget Sam here, our photographer, also a Bergen Leads graduate. There may be others, I apologize. But, oh, and actually Joyce, I think I saw Joyce earlier, over here. So there are a lot of us here over the years. We've now been here for over 10 years. The Leads program was about adult civic leadership, civic engagement and leadership training across the county. Well, we have now expanded it to a Teen Leads program, and I'm very proud that I was involved in bringing this to Tenafly. It's getting into, there's a Ridgewood program, which is a club form, an after-school club. What Tenafly was able to do through seed funding from the Tenafly Educational Foundation is bring it into the classroom. It's part of the curriculum. So they've incorporated this into a current events social studies class. It's an elective class. When we started out, we only had 12 kids. This is about 4 years ago. And again, we provided the seed funding from TEF so that we could get the license to do this program and do the field trips to places like the Bergen County Jail and a freeholders meeting over in Hackensack. This has evolved in 4 years, so popular in Tenafly High that they have 3 sections now. The kids are excited about this. One of the first initiatives, there's always a project that goes in with the class, so there's the learning in the classroom. It's a hands-on research, implement, and the mayor works with them. And the mayor said, gee, we want to look at reinvigorating downtown Tenafly. What are the issues and what do we need to be bringing in? The kids spent the year researching this. They walked the town with Tenafly downtown. They actually picked up, as they were walking, the mayor told me, they were picking up their cell phones, calling the numbers there for the owners of the buildings, finding out the cost, going, this is ridiculous, this is so high, and the owner's going, well, too bad, we'll leave it empty, either pay this amount or yeah, the kids really discovered a lot of what was going on in town, what was successful, not successful, and at the end of the year, they actually did a presentation to our town council, one of the town council meetings. So talk about touching every aspect of the community. Really, really exciting, and I'm proud to say that we were the source, the funding source for that first year. For each subsequent year, the school took it into their budget. Again, we don't do ongoing, we do one time. So I think I probably used up my 5 minutes, if not 6 or 7. This is just an example. As I said, you'll read about us if you get the Northern Valley Suburbanite, you can see the different initiatives we do, but I'm happy to talk to anybody further. And as a quick aside, I do have some flyers on behalf of the Teen Leads program. I'm hosting a little informational event at my home next, I believe it's Wednesday, yeah, next Wednesday, March 27th, 7:30 to 9. I'm hosting it. It's being put on by Volunteer Center Bergen County. Please come if you're available and interested in learning more. Flyers will be here. Thank you.
We actually are going to have a flyers table set up. So if you have flyers from your organizations, if you want to sort of pick it up, we're going to clear off that the registration table and have flyers there so that you guys can share, right? Okay, so our next speaker is about the Englewood Apprenticeship Program.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Mariam Gerges. I'm the Director of Adolescent Services for Bergen Family Center. And I'm just going to give you a brief history of just Bergen Family Center and the school-based youth services and how all this came to be. Bergen Family Center has been in Englewood for over 100 years, and we service everybody from age 0 to 100, literally. We have many different programs. We are located here on 44 Armory Street, and we have a school-based youth services program that's out of the high school. We've been there for about 13 years, serving students for with any needs they might have, from mental health services to job placement to career readiness, college placement, any psychoeducational education components, whatever the students may need so that they can achieve emotional well-being and academic success. So for every student that might look different. So about 6 years ago, Liz Corsini actually here, was approached by the city of Englewood to take on the business apprenticeship program and really enhance it and grow it and develop it into what it is today. So we took this on and we changed it up a little bit so that the students who were going into the workforce and taking on apprenticeship placements were actually ready for their placements. A lot of students were being placed without any job skills, without any readiness, and there was a lot of problems that were arising because they weren't ready for the workforce, and there were high expectations from the people that were taking them on. So we developed a whole curriculum. Students were trained before they even got into their placements. We were interviewing students. And then we, it was a whole labor of love, really, and it's a collaboration, actually, between the City of Englewood, the Englewood Chamber of Commerce, and Bergen Family Center. And we all came together, and everybody has their piece in how this came together, and really identifying placements in Englewood that would take on students during the summertime, where they would work for 6 weeks and actually receive a stipend. So it's a great motivator when we talk about motivators and incentives for students who have never had a job before, who don't have the skills really, and who are living at or below the poverty level, and really this is an incentive for them to work and to gain this experience. So we take on, currently we're about to take on 40 students. We are interviewing actually this week. Applications are out, and this program is for Englewood students, Englewood residents. And they are placed throughout Englewood, through all the different agencies, programs. We have many partners here in the audience. We have Englewood Hospital. We have, who else? I can't see, but we have a lot of people, Flat Rock Brook, sorry. We have a lot of collaborators. Bergen Family Center takes on some apprentices as well. It's really a great experience, and I'll leave it for our partners to really share their experiences with the crowd. Just the change that you see in the students from when they first enter to when they graduate. We have a huge graduation ceremony, and Englewood Hospital was gracious enough to give us their auditorium so that we can have a graduation ceremony. The Chamber of Commerce comes out, the mayor comes out to attend the graduation, and it really shows the students how vested we are. Hillary's always there. Hillary Bitters is always there supporting us, so we really appreciate that. But it really is, just speaking about the success of this program, you see the change in the students from when they first enter. You know, we're triaging, we're assessing what their needs are, because when you're working with students, you have to remember their developmental capacity and what they're able to do and what they're learning and what they're able to grasp. So we try to provide developmentally appropriate training for them so that they're able to take in what it is that is expected of me. And we tell them that there are high expectations for this placement. And they take it very seriously. And we are prepping them from spring, before they're even placed, July 1st in their placements. So we ask for community members to come out and talk to the students, whether it's about professionalism, budgeting, whatever it might be, that they're ready to go into this workforce with skills. And then we also provide intensive workshops throughout their placements in the summertime. So we have professionals coming in and training them. So it's a really great experience for the students, and their self-esteem really is you just see the sense of self-worth afterwards, and their ability to really assert themselves and to be able to just put themselves out there. Many students are asked to actually stay in their placements as jobs throughout the year, so they're very grateful for that. And many students are able to put on their resume their experience, so they're actually able to go back out into the community and get other jobs. We've had many students who were able to attain other jobs within the community because we were #1 a reference for them. Their job placement, their apprenticeship placement was a reference for them, and they have the self-esteem and the encouragement to really go out there and put themselves out there. So it's a great experience all around, and we really appreciate the City of Englewood and the Englewood Chamber of Commerce and all of the supporters who are really supporting these students' growth. They really do grow, and they are able to really put themselves out there and say, wow, I can really achieve this. And just to see how much more willing they are to take risks and to really put themselves out there. So I think that's it. So yes, I'll leave it at that.
Oh, it's me? Okay. Hi, I'm John Arthur from the Englewood Library, as I said before. So I think, the picture's not there yet? Is that the end? That's the grand reveal at the end of the picture? Okay. So I'm here to talk about a partnership that we have with Bergen County Technical Schools. Also, part of that partnership is that we have grant funding from the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development, which then funds the classes that we have with Bergen County Technical Schools. So these classes are English as a second language classes with a career pathways and career readiness aspect to it. And these are classes that the Englewood Library did not have before this year. I guess I should go back. So as I said, I was formerly the director of the Metuchen Public Library down in Central Jersey. And since we're talking about community partnerships, I think it's key to talk about, when I came to Englewood, I actually was pretty confident we would get this grant because we had gotten it when I was in Metuchen. And going to Trenton and working with the state and working with the literacy groups around the state allowed me to build connections with those organizations so that when I applied for it in Englewood, I thought it was probably pretty likely to get it. And I think I'm kind of preaching to the choir because you're all here. We all kind of exist in our little silos in our jobs, but we have to come out and meet with different organizations throughout the state, throughout the city, throughout the county. And then when we email them and ask them for money, they might actually respond and not delete our emails. So, Shelley, keep that in mind. And this grant came about 6 months ago. Bergen County Technical Schools provides all the teachers and a lot of the administrative support, but it's at the Englewood Public Library. So the money comes from the state, we pay Bergen County Technical Schools, and they provide the expertise in teaching English as a second language. It's happening literally right now in the basement of the library, and happens 3 days a week currently. The previous session was actually 5 days a week, and then the next session, which will start in about a month or two, is probably another 5 days a week. There's technical training, there's mostly it's English as a second language, but then they tie in all these very specific aspects to it. And these are classes that wouldn't have existed otherwise. There's a wait list of 140 people for these classes, which just shows me the level of funding we got, while we appreciate it greatly, is only a drop in the bucket of how much we actually would need to serve everyone who wants or needs these types of classes. The gap between who we are serving and who we could serve is immense. And it all, not all, but a lot of it ties to funding. A lot of it ties to, do you even have the facilities to do it? And do you have the connections to do it? So I think coming to events like this and meeting with people from different organizations can only make all of what we do stronger. I mean, there's so much we can do together that we can't do on our own. And I think this program is an example of that, because we don't have anyone on staff that would be able to teach the classes to the level that they're being taught by Bergen County Technical Schools. So I can show the picture of the happy group. This was after the first 10-week cycle of classes. It was around the holidays, so we just kind of threw a big party because the first class was ending. And I mean, it's really my hope that this can only expand. You know, I hope that we are able to get this grant again next year. But again, just to tie in the funding aspect of it, unfortunately, if we don't get the grant again, this will probably go away. And then not only will the 140 people on the wait list not get served, but the people who are already in the class won't get served. So, yeah, Jan.
How many, I missed how many were in the first round of
Okay. So there's about, it fluctuates a little bit because it's a free class, but there's about 40 to 50 people currently being served. This group of 40 to 50 will actually not be invited to the next cycle of classes because the wait list is so long that they're going to kind of graduate, and we're going to loop in the next group of people. Does that mean they're done learning English as a second language? Of course not. No one's, you know, I've been studying Spanish for 15 years and I'm barely conversational. So, you know, it takes a long time, obviously, but they're going to be given other resources. We do have volunteers that teach classes at the library as well. It's separate from this program, and we're filtering some of them into that. But then Bergen County Technical Schools will also offer them, hey, if you want to come to Hackensack, if you want to come to these other locations. But that's also key too, because the reason we wanted to do this in Englewood is that you can't necessarily go to a different town. You don't even necessarily have time to make it to a class period. These are 2.5-hour classes. Having it around the corner from where you live or from where you work is crucial. So plugging that into maybe each individual library. Libraries are a great location.